Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What's up, Forgers? Welcome to episode 7 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm your host, Jeff Reynolds, and as always, I am joined by the extraordinary Heroes Forge co-host. Let's give it up for Kristen Ashton. The crowd goes wild.
No, it's all right, guys. I'm here. We're good. Just calm down.
That's the digital crowd going wild. It sounds like a whole bunch of keyboard clicks and
some mouse taps and
right, and Red Bulls.
Yes.
You can just hear people drinking Red Bulls.
The Mountain Dew being open, chips being crunched on.
It's good. So great. Oh, this episode this week is going to be a lot of fun because I have been inspired. It was my task to pick the hero for this week, and I was inspired by getting into the Overwatch beta, which I am absolutely digging and loving. Are you in the beta too, Kristen?
Yes, and congratulations for getting
Thanks.
in. How many hours have you logged so far?
A lot. I've been playing it a lot. And you know, I never played Team Fortress 2. I never played any sort of first-person shooter on my computer. I play a lot on Xbox. Like, I was huge on Destiny and all those other first-person shooters, Halo, all those games. So playing it on your console, though, is really different than playing it on your computer because I was expecting to get just completely owned the entire time by all these people that play, you know, CSGO and all those pros. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm lucky enough now because they're letting the Blizzard community people in, which maybe haven't played as many FPSs in the past. So right now it feels really good. And I got better at it quicker than I had imagined.
Nice. And so how does the aiming feel then? Because I've always felt aiming with a mouse is far easier than trying to aim with a controller.
It got easier. I was just so used to using a controller. I even debated buying it on my Xbox instead of my computer. I don't know. I mean, it'll look better on my computer, I guess. So I'm gonna go that route because I'm feeling good. And the game has such a great, and I'm guessing that Team Fortress 2 has the same feel, but it has such a great positive energy around it, like in comparison to CS:GO and the community over there, and you know, and. I'm really having a ton of fun. Are you?
I am, and the abuse has been non-existent so far. I probably lose more than I win, but at the same time, the losses feel like a lot of fun. I'm usually laughing each time I get blown.
I know, yeah, it's a lot of fun, no matter what. And another thing that is different for me in comparison to Heroes is that the matches can go so quickly.
Yes.
I mean, there are some matches that are so fast that they're over in 6 minutes.
Yeah, they're over before I even know what the objective is.
Right. That's half the problem for me sometimes. But, and I was in some games, and, some people are just so great. I had one guy that was like, hey, you probably don't want to go Widowmaker on this map objective because of so-and-so and such and such. And I was like, thanks, dude. That's really great.
Yeah, and what about the fact that you can change your hero at any point in the game?
I know. It's crazy for us Heroes fans, like our Heroes of the Storm fans, because adapting to the enemy's strategy is just a whole nother level to the game, which I think is just really fun. And of course, like we always say on the show, it's a Blizzard game, so it's really well done. The lore is there, even though it's brand new. People are invested in getting the skins and getting the loot crates, and I'm like, this is just the beta.
I know, and now I guess the big question is, are the things you win in beta going to carry over when it goes live? I hope so.
I hope so for the forum's sake, because the forums will explode if that doesn't. Oh. If you're listening to this and you know the answer to this question, shoot us a tweet with the answer if you happen to know it, because I'm really curious about how much time I should pour into this.
Exactly.
Just at the end, they're going to be like, oh, we're hitting the reset button for everybody.
You wanted to do League, we're cleaning it right as soon as you get to a place you're happy with. Just wipe it.
Yeah. Oh. And I can't find, I have heroes that I'm better with, but then I pick up a new hero in Overwatch, and I'm just stoked because they have a different kit, and it's really cool. It's almost, have you played Smite?
I haven't, but I've seen it quite a bit. I know about, isn't it that third-person MOBA?
it's a MOBA that is third person, so it still plays at the speed of a MOBA. It's not as quick as Overwatch. Overwatch is very fast, and abilities are all over the place, and it's happening very quickly. But Smite kind of has a cool third person view too, so maybe you should check that. It's free to play. Smite is, so if you're listening to this and you haven't played Smite either, that's a fun game to play too. And if you're listening to this and you're not in the Overwatch beta, it is worth holding out for.
Yes.
And I think it's worth purchasing. The game won't be free to play when it comes out. I believe it's $60 at launch.
Correct.
When it launches, Kristen, don't you think? I think it's a must purchase.
Yeah, it's clean. I mean, it feels like it's ready to launch now. That's how clean it feels. But that's what we expect from Blizzard games in their beta. Their betas are simply data gathering processes, I think.
That sets them up for success. That's a great business model, I think, because some of these other games on Steam that you download, and they might be an alpha and they might be an open beta, and you get in there, and it's painful sometimes when the games don't launch or you're sitting in queues. I've been in a few long queues in Overwatch, but I think that's attributed to the amount of people that are in the game, whether it's too many or too little.
Yeah.
So I think it's on a fast track to success once it comes out.
Oh,
so,
certainly. And do you have a favorite hero so far?
I do have a favorite hero. I really like Soldier 76 because I'm feeling it's one of the more basic ones. It's training me on the other heroes, so I'm better at Soldier 76. How about you? For
me, I love Zenyatta.
Ooh,
I fell in love
hard.
with him the first time I played him.
Yeah, his ult is like a big aura, healing aura, right?
Yep, and then he adds buffs and debuffs to enemy heroes and then your fellow team players.
Oh, yeah. Support heroes make that game too. Because, I'm running in there as Soldier 76, and if there's a Mercy that's basically like Lieutenant Morales healing me from the back, I think that's what makes those games, and people haven't quite figured out the team comps yet, but I'm not expecting them to because it's brand spanking new. But you know what? I saw a tournament of Overwatch on Twitch the other day.
Already?
And they have a tournament client and everything. So they're really investing in this, obviously, just like any other Blizzard game, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Overwatch. Enough talking about Overwatch for this current second. But have you played any other games this week?
I've been going forward with Alien Isolation.
Oh, are you getting close?
I think I am. We've gotten past the first point where I've launched the alien into space, but if you've seen any of the Alien movies, you know it's not the final end.
Right.
And the coolest part that's happened was you relived a memory of the team that brought the face hugger onto the ship that was then ravaged by the alien.
Right.
And so you're walking on the planet that Ripley and her team walked on. You enter the ship. And at one point, you attach yourself to this winch, and you're lowered down into a dark pit. And suddenly, it opens up to this enormous room with blue light and fog on the ground, and you see the eggs.
Oh,
God. The eggs.
Oh, man. It's good. So it's getting better?
It is. They still have moments of human and robot evil, and I'm at the robot evil now, so that really takes me out of it. But the alien parts are done fantastically.
Cool. Well, you got to keep us updated when you finish it up, because I'm really curious to see your final thoughts on that. Yeah, for me it was just Overwatch this week, and I did play a little bit of Heroes with some of the patch changes and everything in the game. And again, like I've said before, I don't play in a league where I can really feel those changes as much as other leagues. But I know a lot of people there's some buzz around some of those heroes still, like Nova and all the changes that have gone on there. It's still kind of settling from a couple weeks ago.
Oh, goodness. After Li Ming's release and then Rhaegar's buff, it's been crazy.
I know, Rhaegar. I should try to learn Rhaegar, although I don't have a whole lot of time to devote to it. But, man, some people out there are really, really good with Rhaegar now, which is awesome.
Unkillable.
Yeah. At points, unkillable. I found that in some of my games, which is probably not the best.
No.
Probably need a little bit of It sounds like our Nas Dormu from last week.
The troll of the battlefield.
That's right, the troll of the team, the enemy team. Yeah, great. So lots of great Blizzard community stuff going on out there. Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm. I know it's a great time to be a Blizzard fan, and I know there have been a lot of times that we've been able to say that, and this is one of them, because Diablo's in a good place, Warcraft's about to come back and be in a good place, Heroes, Overwatch, we talked about Hearthstone. I mean, all those games are making some serious changes to really take over, so that's really cool. But we're here today to talk specifically about heroes that we would like to see in Heroes of the Storm. If this is your first time listening to HeroesForge, welcome to the show. We're building this community, and we're so happy that you're here. We're going to take a hero that I chose this week, and Kristen and I are both going to talk through this hero's kit, all of their abilities, basic abilities, and then the really fun part is when we get into what this hero's heroic abilities would be. And so, you know what I say, let's go ahead and let's forge.
Let's forge.
We're forging. Here we go. Okay, Kristen, we got to pump up the volume for this. Who are we forging this week?
Right, we're pumping it up with Lúcio.
Oh, Lúcio from Overwatch. We were definitely inspired. So, Kristen, go ahead and give us a little rundown on Lúcio.
Art is how we decorate space, and music is how Lúcio decorates life. Growing up in Rio de Janeiro, Lúcio Correa dos Santos had to weather the poor economic times brought on by the aftermath of the Omnic crisis, the great war between man and the machines they built. Spurred on by the love of his people, Lúcio settled on music as a way to bolster the spirits of his neighbors. While locally popular, worldwide fame did not come until his role in the Brazilian uprising against the evil Vishkar Corporation. While this company had done wonders to aid the corporation's home country of India following the Robot Rebellion, they became despotic rulers overseas, imposing harsh controls over what they perceived as an easily exploitable community. Lúcio could not abide. Stealing Vishkar technology that allowed him to create physical objects from hard light, he led the rebellion that kicked out Vishkar. Word of his heroism spread across the globe, transforming him into a household name the world over almost overnight. Now playing to sold-out arenas, he never forgets why he began making music in the first place, using his status symbol as a way to inspire positive social change.
Dang. Positive change is a really good line there at the end. That really sums up Lúcio. I mean, in the game, when he's in the game, it's so cool. You can hear him because, you know, his music is blasting in the game.
Yeah, it's what gives you your will to fight.
That's right. And it gives you just this, it does. Actually, I know it sounds really super nerdy, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, you hear Lúcio behind you and the music is pumping and you know you're being supported because he's a support in Overwatch. So you know you're being supported. You know you got the heals on you. You know you can get a little bit of a shield. You can go in a little deeper into the game. It's just an awesome... It's an awesome vibe from that character.
Oh,
have you had
definitely.
a chance to play with them?
Oh, yes, I have. And we had one Lúcio that was fantastic. We sped to the objective, and then he would launch into his ultimate, I don't know how many times throughout that game, but each time he did, I had a huge smile on my face and was just throwing out powers and yada balls.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like, it's just a great feel, and the energy is really great. And I see a lot of Lúcio play. There's not a lot of support characters in Overwatch right now to choose from.
No, they're about, what, 4? Yeah.
Yeah, 3 or 4 that are like true supports, like that can do the healing and stuff. So yeah, so he's fun. I got the chance to play. Has that little Titanfall feel where you can run up on the sides of buildings because he's an inline skater in the game. So you can rollerblade up on the sides of buildings and jump over objectives that way.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. And if you're playing the beta and you haven't played Lucio, jump on that because it's a completely different experience and it's a ton of fun. But it also brings me to one of the concerns that I had in regards to Overwatch heroes being brought into Heroes of the Storm. And when I was building this kit for Lucio, I couldn't help but think that these characters all have, you know, the same amount of abilities pretty much as a Heroes of the Storm character.
Yeah.
How is that going to translate over to Heroes of the Storm? And also, how are they going to bring heroes that are very similar over? The immediate things I start thinking of are like Reaper and Vala. You know, Vala's ult and Reaper's ult. The strafe and then, you know, Reaper's ult in the game. It's almost identical in the same sort of feel, shooting around in a circle. Or like we talked about before, Mercy and that healing beam is almost identical to the same sort of feel as Lieutenant Morales. Have you thought about that at all, or did you have that issue when you were thinking about Lucio?
Well, the big concern I had was making sure when you bring a hero from Overwatch over, it's not an exact copy of what they are in the first-person shooter, because MOBAs are inherently different games, so you need different requirements for a hero to be viable.
Right. And you know, what I was going to say before was the games don't move as quickly in Heroes, obviously. You know, the abilities are on cooldowns that are much longer, I feel, than Overwatch. But you know, it is a little different. So that was one of the things that I was thinking of when I was building Lucio for Heroes of the Storm. But in the end, I came up with some really cool ideas, and I had the same mission that you had, which was to make it different than what it was in Overwatch. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, like we always talk about when we're forging a hero, is its role classification in the game. I chose a support. And what did you choose, Kristen?
I went with support as well. Talking of making them different, and from a first-person shooter to a MOBA, we're sticking with the same role.
Yeah, not a great start to making them different, but this is a HeroesForge first because we have not yet forged a true support character for use in Heroes of the Storm. So this is what I was really excited about, to be able to do a hero from Overwatch and a hero that was going to be a new classification for us, which is support. So the next thing we will chat about is their trait. And I want to hear yours first, Kristen.
Okay. My trait is called Soundtrack Savvy. When D is activated, the current soundtrack playing immediately changes for all players. Each song comes with its own effects for Lucio's team and Lucio's abilities. Songs are chosen from a radial menu pop-up and can be changed indefinitely throughout the game. Potential buffs include speed, health regen, and mana regen.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, that is way cooler than mine. That is so cool. So you're saying that you would activate, this is an activatable trait,
yes,
right? Okay, so Lucio chooses to activate it, a radio pops up on your screen, and you dial the radio into the station you want the team to be listening to.
Basically.
That is such a cool idea. And so the enemy heroes hear this as well?
Yes, they hear the changing music. But the way he's built is one that won't support somebody just changing the music to mess with people.
Okay, cool. That is really, really awesome idea. Awesome. I love that. Yeah, my trait, I went kind of towards the mobility aspect like we were talking about earlier in the show.
Yeah.
My trait was called the alley-oop, which I did some research, and this is an actual inline skating move.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, duh. You didn't know that?
Yeah, pardon me. I was never a big skater back in the day.
I didn't know that either. I looked it up on Google. I was like, the coolest inline skating tricks. Oh, it's called the alley-oop. So my trait is called alley-oop. Lucio has the ability to do an inline skating trick called the alley-oop. He can jump up and do a 180-degree flip over other heroes, terrain, and structures.
Oh, wow.
This ability is on a short cooldown and can be used to reposition Lucio during a battle or escape from a tough engagement. So basically, it's got the feel of like a Lunara hop, like over another hero or over terrain, which I thought was really cool.
Yes.
And structures too.
Certainly, and that would make him one of the most mobile, if not the most mobile support. In the game. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was going for, because the other ones, I mean, not super mobile. Although Brightwing is pretty mobile, especially with the teleport and everything.
Certainly, but she doesn't exactly have a quick repositioning.
Right. So, yeah, that was my idea, the alley-oop, and now we all know an inline skating trick.
Well, there we go. The more you learn.
You're welcome. We should just stop the show right now.
Yeah, one fact a week.
No fire alarms after that one, even though it was so hot on Valentine's Day. That's why the fire alarm went off.
Oh, there it is. A homemade
podcast,
burnt Valentine's dinner.
For our podcast listeners that are just hearing us talk now live, we had to pause the show because there was a fire alarm in my apartment complex. So we like to thank chat on the podcast for sticking around with the show. It's totally great. So moving on from traits, the next thing we talk about is the mounting ability. I went straight up with the inline skater route again. I said no mounting. I said he always has an increased movement speed buff similar to Lunara.
Whoa.
And then with his trait that I had, he would be able to jump over and just be super, super mobile.
Oh my goodness, he'd be all over that map.
Yeah. That's the feel I get from him in Overwatch right now.
Yeah.
Is that he's all over. I mean, you can jump up on rooftops because you can kind of scale the side of the building, jump up on the rooftop, jump back down. So I wanted to try to implement in that in Heroes. What were you thinking?
I was thinking the inline skates as well, but also because he's a big celebrity, I thought it would be hilarious if he had a mount called his fans, where he jumps up and he falls back into the arms of his
Crowd
adoring
surf.
fan base. Yes, crowd surf. And they carry him away to wherever he needs to go next.
You are seriously outdoing me so hardcore right now.
What?
That
But
is
the
so
movement
cool.
would be crazy good. I would love having a fast-paced healer.
But crowd surfing? I mean, that is so awesome. That fits the flavor of Lucio so well. Is because he's kind of into himself in the game. You know, he's like, let's drop the beat, and like all that cool stuff. And like you said, in the lore section of the show, he's a huge performer, and the crowd surfing idea is so cool. So these poor people that are carrying him are like running in front to grab a section of him, pushing him forward, and then running back into the front and just pushing him up.
Basically. And like
dedication.
double time, too. I mean, he's got to keep up with the horses and the unicorns.
That would be funnier than Cho'Gall carrying a mount. 100%. And I'm not really sure if anything Blizzard could think of would be funnier than a hero that crowd surfs.
And wouldn't it be great, too, if his fans, they were hiding under the bushes and in the trees.
And they come
could
out.
crawl out.
Your fans are always in the wings waiting to come and mount and carry you up. Even if it's just a short thing. Like the tribute is, a half a step away. I need to mount up. I need to get there quick.
There we go.
I dig it. And like his I can't stop talking about this. His animation when he's like mounting, everybody's kind of just like, conjuring with their hands.
Yes.
Like, his is like he's calling his fans in with his arms. He's like, yeah, come on, guys. Come on.
Yes.
I dig
Summoning
it.
him. Summoning them.
Winner. I like it. So let's talk a little bit about Q. You got to have an awesome Q to follow that, Kristen. Let's hear it.
All right, well, we'll see about this. Crank it up. Lucio cranks up the volume of the current soundtrack in a select area, bolstering its effects and adding a debuff to any enemy heroes in range.
Nice. So it's stacking your trait, basically.
Yes.
Like and so would it only last for a certain amount of time?
Correct, and it would only be in a specific area. So you could have the cool effect where when you walk into it, suddenly the music's a lot louder to cue you into the fact that you're now stuck in the party.
Yeah, and he would obviously have an awesome line that he would say before it happened. And like,
some cheeseball line.
Yeah,
oh my goodness, I'm
some-
not as good as Kyle is with those.
there's some major cheeseball lines from Lucio in the game. I think they're pretty funny.
What's your favorite one so far?
I don't know. Let's Drop the Beat is pretty cool because I just get pumped by that, but it is super cheesy and nerdy to like that. But I think that's cool, and he's got some really great interactions with Reinhardt before the game starts. They chat with each other kind of like in Heroes of the Storm when the heroes are talking to each other, but there's more time in Overwatch.
Yeah.
So the conversations are longer than they are in Heroes. So check it out and listen and let me know what you think because I think they're pretty funny interactions.
Will
They're
do.
cool. My Q was called Sonic Amplifier. And Q acts as Lucio's auto attack. So that being said, Lucio has no true auto attack. So he cannot auto attack people. When Q is activated, the player selects a hero to target for Sonic Amplifier. Lucio hits this target with sonic projectiles continuously until the target leaves range or Lucio is interrupted. Activating another ability of Lucio's interrupts the spell and he must cast it again. I was thinking it would be similar to the ability that Lieutenant Morales' healing beam has. So instead of something that is healing someone through a beam, you're actually, in the game, he's got this, in Overwatch, he's got this sonic amplifier gun, basically, that shoots sound beams, and it's like...
Yes, the bass.
And I was thinking that it would be really cool if you targeted a hero and as long as you were in range, it just kept doing it. Like,
And how annoying would that be, too? Because I would imagine it couldn't do much damage, but it would be annoying. Kind of like Morales' heal beam. It doesn't heal super fast or super heavy, but it's that consistent healing. You can't kill who's ever targeted.
And it would also really affect the team fight, because you'd be like, we gotta stun him or something, or it's just gonna keep on doing damage to me or whatever. So I thought that was a cool idea for Sonic Amplifier for my Q. Now my W is called Let's Bring It Together, which is another one of the cheeseball lines. Lucio pours healing tunes from his external sound system. All heroes close to him are being healed while the music is playing. If the characters choose to dance while near Lucio, the spell effect is increased. It can be talented to make the AoE larger and heal Lucio himself. So you got to make that option, like, let's dance, let's bring it together.
I love it.
Everybody slash dances, and it heals you up faster.
Oh, could you imagine you've almost got the enemy's core down, but you decide you're going to dance anyway, and you're going to have Lucio turn on that beat, and the entire enemy team is wiped, and they just want the game to end, but you guys
talk about salt in the chat, Or you could use it, offensively. You're sitting there waiting to take the last tribute or something. Everybody's together. You're standing in bushes. Everybody's hidden. You just slash dance, and then everybody's dancing, and they get healed up faster.
That would be hilarious. Could you imagine being an enemy hero, walking around the corner, and suddenly having sight on the objective space, and just running into the enemy team dancing? Oh. They're just having a dance party, and you just kind of back away.
Yeah, it was BlizzCon, the final game this year, when Cloud9 was playing, and they all turned the perfect angle for the observer camera, and they all danced at the same time. And it was such a, like, we're gonna win moment. I was like, oh my gosh, are you really gonna do that? But it was so cool to see them all.
Fan service, too.
Oh, it was such fan service. I mean, we were all there just going crazy for them. It was great. What was your idea for W?
W, I'm going with Barrier Barrage because I am a personal fan of Tassadar's wall ability. So I want to see more of it. So when activated, Lucio is able to lay down one barrier every few seconds for the duration of the ability. These barriers have different shapes and abilities based on the song in play at the moment.
Man, it ties so well with your trait. That's really genius. I think that's cool. So what are you thinking of some of them would do? Were you having like maybe pushback if the barrier would have like, maybe bass is playing? And
yeah, it would be shaped like
hard.
A drum.
Yeah. It's hitting hard and then they're just like being pushed back from it. That's a little different than Tassadar, right?
Yes, yeah, because the wall would actually affect you physically if you touch it. And then you could have something akin to a brass instrument, and if they touch it, they start vibrating and they're slowed.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. That's another winner. I think that's totally sweet. Okay, let's talk about E. So my E was called Up the Tempo.
Oh yeah.
So this is directly from Overwatch, because in Overwatch, I don't know if you found this, but if you die in the game and you were close to the objective, for the most part, it takes a serious amount of time to get back to the battle.
Yes.
You've got to run all the way back. So when you have Lucio on your team, it is key. It's pivotal. Like if everybody was to wipe around the same time in Overwatch and then somebody selected Lucio at that point, it would be a great choice because he has an ability where he can make the movement speed of everyone on your team increased a crazy percentage, and you get back in the fight faster. If you're protecting the payload or something like that, you have the time to get back there. So mine is kin to that. So up the tempo, Lucio's sound system is switched to allow heroes that are close to him to increase their movement speed to his, so they ramp up to like a Lunara speed without mounting. It doesn't require them to mount, but does not have the same speed boost, and it could be useful to help a team escape or reposition from a team fight. So just having that speed and not having to worry about getting demounted or unmounted was my thought.
I like it. I think that would truly, honestly change the objective gameplay too as well. And I mean, like you said, being able to run away from a team fight that's not going so well. Could you imagine how many poor heroes' lives could be saved from final hits or Asmodan dunks?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's a thing. I get it a lot. When I get pwned a whole lot when it comes to that. So if I had the ability to get out, it would be great. Cool. So Kristen, what was your E?
And this one is lose yourself to dance. And the target enemy hero is so caught up in the music that they have to drop everything and dance for a few seconds. This effectively works as a root.
Love it. So cool. And a CC on a support, which is crazy. Like Uther CC, like even just that little bit of the hammer stuff. I mean, it buys you time.
Oh, yes.
If you use it right, it buys serious time. It can really help out.
Yeah,
so
and I really like that kind of stuff too because it helps your team focus on a target, which I think is pivotal during team fights.
Yeah, it calls them out. And that's something I learned from Kyle, too, talking about Diablo, when you just run in there and you can grab somebody and say, hey, everybody, this is who we're going to attack.
Exactly.
And as long as your team's on board with that, you're gonna really do well. So that's another way to do it with Lucio, which is awesome. Totally sweet. This is some really cool abilities. I think the heroics are going to be even great. So let's get into it. Let's talk about heroics.
Heroic.
My heroic ability number 1 is called Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Is there a guitar or solo?
That's right.
Okay. All right, just had to check.
That's enough. Lucio casts an AoE cleanse that immediately removes all movement impairing effects from the targeted friendly heroes in the area. These heroes are then energized and gains the Let's Bring It Together ability for a short time, allowing them to activate it and gain a healing aura that's half as strong as Lucio's. So just to review, my Q was called my W was called Let's Bring It Together, which is when he has a healing aura that's just healing people around him. So my idea was Don't Stop Believing cleanses everybody, and then they in turn, because it doesn't heal them, but they are healing. Kind of like a Malfurion heal, like heal over time after they're cleansed.
Nice. And then you wouldn't be wasting a heal either.
Exactly. Yeah, and it wouldn't be it wouldn't be like a Divine Palm or Divine Shield or something like that is going to be similar to that. This is an AoE, so it's everybody. So let's say somebody gets into a mosh pit. So they're going, which is funny that I bring up mosh pit because we're talking about Lucio. So they mosh pit, and then you can AoE cleanse everybody that's in the mosh pit. It's a direct counter to that. And then they start healing themselves and each other if they weren't in the Don't Stop Believing circle.
Gotcha. Now here's a question for you about the mosh pit. Would it then knock ETC out of mosh pit, or would it recapture people? Would it give your team time to get out of the mosh pit?
That's a good question. I think it would just give them time because it's not going to cleanse him. Like he's still going to be in his mosh pit. So kind of like when you run into a void prism. So if the void prism is up, if you were able to exit the void prism, which you would be able to and Don't Stop Believing, if you walked back into it, you would get stuck again.
Okay.
Is what I was thinking, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, what about you? What's your first heroic?
The Sound and the Fury. And Lucio's stage rises out of the ground with him on it, performing like he's at one of his venues. Everyone is taken with dance fever and busts a move. dancing into different formations on the map based on the song in play, and receiving the specific buff of the song. Once the song ends, full control is regained. And this is both teams.
Oh my gosh, that is... The visual would be so cool.
It would be absurd.
I love that idea. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So it just comes straight up from underneath them.
Yep, I like to pretend that there is an underground working stage section of the maps, and just a square opens up, and it's a door on hinges, and then the stage rises up wherever you are. You just get to party.
It's so cool. So what if you're around mercs?
Oh.
Like, or the boss or something. Does it start busting a move, as you say?
I'm going to say no, just to keep it pulled back a bit. But maybe one of the songs allows you to gain control of mercs.
Oh, so one of his trait songs helps you with mercs. Maybe it's like a Sylvanas kind of thing where if your song is playing, the mercenaries don't fight back because they're just dancing.
Yeah.
Like they're just grooving and you're just attacking them, kind of like Sylvanas can stun them, right? Or she doesn't stun them, but she stops them from attacking, like freezes them.
Yeah, she basically does stun them.
Yeah. Cool. That is so awesome. Man, mine is so lame compared to that.
Yeah, no, yours is amazing. Yours is legitimate. Mine is dream fantasy world.
But that's what we're all about here on the show. I love that dream fantasy kind of thing where, I mean, that's the Cho'Gall thought right there. You know, like somebody was sitting at a desk at Blizzard or wherever they were, you know, out eating In-N-Out Burger or something, and somebody said, what if we had a hero that 2 people played? If we brought that up in the show before that happened, everybody would be like, that's crazy. That would never happen. When the stage comes out of the ground for the first time, it's all you, Kristen.
Yep.
You were the one that came up with that idea.
As soon as it comes in a game, remember me.
Copyright Kristen Ashton. Copyright on an already copyrighted hero on an already copyrighted game.
It gets complicated, but it's there.
We have lawyers for this stuff. My second heroic ability was called Amp It Up, and it's actually a passive. So you select this heroic ability, and it just throws a passive on you, and all of Lucio's abilities have increased stats. He's able to heal more with Let's Bring It On, move teammates faster with Up the Tempo, and Sonic Amplifier's firing rate is increased. So I thought it was kind of like a level 20 augmentation talent, but it comes at 10, and it just amps you up. Everything you do, you know, your Sonic Amplifier's firing rate is just like doubled. So you're doing more damage, you're doing more healing, and you're able to move around quicker around the map and everything. I was trying to think of something that was more supporty in that way, that wasn't healing. Yeah,
and that's cool. I think that's been really neat about Lucio is we haven't made him a healer per se. He has healing abilities, but we didn't want to see him a classic support. We have a Morales.
Yeah, we have the Uthers and the Morales and Malfurion. How about your second heroic?
Oh, this one, Have It Your Way. And this is, of course, in honor of the fact that everyone thinks he should belong in the Burger King Kids Club. So hats off to you, Burger King. Lucio launches the hottest mixtape yet, combining all of the soundtracks into one piece of musical mastery. During its duration, all friendly heroes gain all of the buffs. In addition, all enemy heroes killed add to the duration of the ability, as it was clearly too hot to handle.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. Too hot to handle.
Well, that could be the level 20 augment.
Yeah. This is so Valentine's Day. Too hot to handle on Valentine's Day. Oh man, that's a great idea. I mean, it might be a little OP, but man, that's what we're talking about. It's some really cool OP stuff. I just can't get over your trait is so well implemented into all of your abilities. Hats off to you, because that's not easy to do. That's hard. So I love the fact that this radio pops up, or whatever we were talking about before, where you just tune it to what kind of buff you want that fits the flavor of the character so well, and all of your traits are awesome, Kristen. So
Yeah,
gold medal
yours
for
as
this
well,
hero.
Jeff. Yours would really, really add a lot more excitement to the role of support, and probably make support a role that people actually fight over to play.
I just had a thought for your stage uprising or reveal.
Mm-hmm.
All of Lucio's fans, they got to come out, right?
They do?
They got to come out. So when the stage is coming up, part of that thing is all the fans are coming from all the bushes, and they're just running out and they're joining in.
Yes, and what if they're the ones that position the heroes?
Oh yeah, they're pushing them around, or maybe somebody's like a stage manager or something that's like moving people around.
And the
who's
little
got a badge.
flashlight showing them where to go.
We're not taking this too far. That's just perfect.
No, I don't think we've gone far enough.
I don't think we have either, but I am going to say that this hero has been forged.
Hero Forged.
Man, Lucio would be so awesome in the game. We talked about ideas we had from him all over the map here, from roller skating abilities to, having a radio pop up on the screen, tuning into your favorite tune that helps out your team, stages coming up, people crowd surfing him, all of his fans popping out from the side panels, giving him cleanse abilities and upping the tempo, talking about a different type of auto attack. There's so much you can do with Lucio, right, Kristen?
There is, certainly. And I know people make fun of him. I have heard him made fun, I'm going to repeat myself, heard him made fun of across the board. But the fact is, people play him a lot because he's an amazing hero in Overwatch, and therefore he should be amazing in Heroes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. People do make fun of him, but I think that he's different, and that's why people, they're not used to the fact that he's like a different kind of flavor for a game like that.
Yeah, he loves what he does, and that's kind of rare to see.
Right, he's not like the Reinhardt or the Mercy or, the tank or the healer.
Someone with a deep, dark past. He doesn't have one of those. He's just a cool guy who wants to have fun.
Yeah, which is lighthearted and awesome. I totally dig it. So that is Lucio, and that hero has been forged. And if this is your first time listening to Heroes Forge again, we have forged some awesome heroes on the last episode. This is already episode 7. We started the show at the beginning of the year, and we forged some really cool heroes. And you can find them all on our website, which is HeroesForge.club. On the website, there's a tab for podcast, and you can check out all of the past episodes that we've had of the show. Really cool Diablo heroes, a StarCraft hero, World of Warcraft last week, Nosdormu, which was really fun. And that's also where you can check out all of the other places that we are on the web, including Twitter. If you'd like to find us on Twitter, we're at Forge Heroes on Twitter, and also we're on youtube.com/HeroesForge. And Kristen and I have a little bit of announcement that we're gonna implement in our show. The show is growing, and we want to keep it community driven. We want to keep the listeners involved in it. So we're having some really awesome things happen where people are emailing us ideas or tweeting at us ideas of heroes that we should forge, or even ideas that they have for a specific hero that's not in the game. So we're gonna start something that's gonna be a really awesome segment or actual show, and then we're going to call it the Forger Spotlight. The Forger Spotlight's going to happen one episode a month, so one of the weeks we're going to do a Forger Spotlight. We're going to take an idea from a community member that's emailed it to us and said, hey, I think this would be really cool if this hero was in the game, and this is what I think they would look like. And then I'm going to read through the kit that the listener develops, and I'm going to pick one of the basic abilities or heroic abilities, and Kristen's going to pick one, and we're both going to build our own kits off of that and then attribute all the credit to the listener of the person that submitted it. So our next and first Forger Spotlight will be next week, next Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can check it out, and we're always streaming on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/HeroesForge. You can check out the live stream there, or you can download the show on iTunes, and you can check it out there. If you love the show and you want to give us a rating on iTunes, that would be awesome. Make sure you leave a little comment so that we can see who rated us, so that we can give you a little shout out on the show. Also, I really want to throw a big shout out to Master DS. He let us know that we were having some audio issues with the popular podcasting app called Overcast. We fixed those issues, so if you're an Overcast user, enjoy the show now. It'll be posted there every Sunday night right after the live stream records live on Twitch. Did I miss anything, Kristen?
I can't think of anything.
Well, tell everybody where you're at on the interwebs.
I am at Dream Destroyer, DRMDESTRYR, Twitter, let's see, YouTube, Twitch, and there's also my fitness and health blog, rippedforblizzcon.weebly.com.
Rip for BlizzCon. I saw on your post that you were doing Valentine's Day. You were at the gym on Valentine's Day, right?
Yes, I was, and I didn't want to go. And after I finished the workout, I still didn't want to be there, but I got it done.
That's always my problem is I never want to go, and even when I'm there, I don't want to be there. But
some days are like that.
it's good to go, though, especially on a holiday. So props to you for going on a holiday. And speaking of holidays, tell everybody about your Heroes of the Storm Valentines, because they are legit.
Oh, yes. It was a tradition that began last year when I created really cheesy Valentine's Day cards for all of the heroes. And so over at amove.tv, you'll find all of this year's heroes.
And they are brilliant. Go over and just check them out. It takes about 5 minutes to read through all of them, and I had a good laugh reading through some of them, and The Butcher is one of my favorites. When you check it out, check out The Butcher. And shout out to all those other podcasts that are out there about Heroes of the Storm. We have some really great community members that are doing some awesome things for this game, and I know I can say that I'm proud to be part of it, and I know, Kristen, you are too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Great. So that's episode 7 of Heroes Forge. Make sure you join us next week for our very, very, very first Forger Spotlight, where sometime this week, follow us on Twitter and we'll give the announcement of who we're going to be forging and what community member we'll be featuring on the show. Check us out on Twitter. And until then, we will see you all in the real world.